What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes? Welcome back to another episode of your potentially favorite Nigerian podcast, Bear with me, your host, General Prime. And if you're Nigerian, I'm sure you've heard by now that the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, what is his fucking name again? Why was saying Bola Ahmed Tinubu? No, not Bola Ahmed Tinubu, although we all wish that he was the one. But Muhammadu Buhari, the former president of Nigeria, has died at the ripe old age of 83. And there is a lot to unpack, there is a lot to talk about, there is a lot to flesh out, there is a lot to understand about his death. The first one I want to bring to light is how everybody keeps talking about how there is this conspiracy theory that the actual real Buhari died in 2017, and then he was replaced by a clone or somebody from, I don't know where they say he's from. And then he was replaced by this clone or look-alike. His name is Jibril, and that he's the person that was ruling Nigeria ever since until he left office. And there are hints of truths here and there concerning that matter, because there is this journalist Eric Joyce who made a tweet in 2017 about how he was sad on the passing of the president. This was in May 2017. Like, you can still go and check the tweet. I'm going to put it up here, right? And also on the 23rd of February, I don't know, there is a kind of disparity there. Like, it doesn't really make sense, because on the 23rd of February, also in 2017, the African Union held a minute silence for the passing away of the president. So yeah, there are disparities, like especially when you know that the president is a Muslim, and Muslims bury their dead like the same day when the person dies, right? Obviously, it's going to be a lot more different when the person is in office or when the person is a president. But the disparity of it, of someone making the tweets in May of 2017, and also the African Union holding a minute silence for him in February of the same year, kind of makes it not as believable as Nigerians would like it to be. But it's just a conspiracy theory that I just feel like I have to bring to light, and have to, just make everybody understand that it might not be true. You understand? I know all of us, we just want to clamor on this kind of news and just want to make it interesting and just want to make it seem more than what it actually is. But in the reality of things, reality is stranger than fiction, but reality is stranger than fiction in so many other ways than, just this kind of surface level conspiracy theory. But regardless of all it is, though, whether he's fake or whether he's real, what we know now is that Muhammad Buhari is dead. He died yesterday in a hospital in London, and it's very shameful. It's very shameful that a whole president of the most popular country in Africa, of the one-time giant of Africa, had to die in a clinic in London. Very shameful thing that the president, all throughout his 8 years in office, he couldn't build for himself a presidential hospital. Even till today, the current president there is no talk about that being an option for Nigeria to have a presidential hospital, a state-of-the-art hospital, a 21st century technologically advanced hospital where the president can be looked after, where his health can be looked after, where he can go for checkups without wasting taxpayers' money and going on taking flights to other countries for medical checkups. It shows how shameless the Nigerian government is. It shows how shameless the people in power in Nigeria are. That we don't have things that are, we don't have things that we need in Nigeria. We don't, not even we, but because to them we don't matter. You understand? To them, to the Nigerian government, the populace do not matter. So, but for themselves at least, this is to tell you that these people are not patriotic. They don't even love their countries, because if they actually loved their countries, at least would this basic amenity, not even for the populace, not even for the population, not even for the the everyday average people of Nigeria, for they themselves, right? These basic amenities will exist in Nigeria. But the fact that it doesn't exist, the fact that even After 15, like the last president that died in Nigeria, that was Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, right? He was the last president that died. That was like 15 years ago. And still yet, 15 years later, we still do not have a fucking presidential hospital. It tells you how, as an unwilling to change and unwilling to progress the Nigerian government is. And we are seeing it now. We are seeing that this person, imagine a whole president of a country is now going to be consignment. He's now going to return to Nigeria as cargo. I hope that the rest of the Nigerian politicians and the rest of the Nigerian government are seeing it for themselves that death is inevitable. Yes, he died at the ripe old age of 83. To me, if you ask me, he got off easily. He got off way easily because, and I'm going to tell you why. Because first of all, I don't, as I've said 1,001 times on this podcast, I actually don't believe in God, and so him dying and not going to like face any form. I don't believe in God. Yes, that is a given, but I don't know if there is an afterlife. You understand? I don't know what is going to happen after this, like after this time, after our time here on earth. So, but for the surface level parts that I know that I don't think that there's any such thing as an afterlife, because I cannot remember what life was like before I was born. So it's only logical to conclude that you're not going to remember what life will be like after you're dead. And this is why I say that he's gotten off easily, because first of all, he lived so long. He lived longer than most of the people that he killed, most of the people that he allowed to die when he was alive, most of the people that he commanded to be killed. Basically, he lived longer than them. He had a full life. He had like a very healthy life, even though like he was sick in his old age. He had like a very healthy life. He was taken properly care of. He was sent to the best hospitals in the world. But still yet, at the end of the day, death caught up with him. That is what I'm trying to like make everybody understand. That at the end of the day, regardless of what you do, regardless of the kind of power and money that you accumulate and amass for yourself, you're going to leave it. And what is going to be left, what is going to remain, is your legacy. And legacy is what I want to talk about today. Legacy. You see how Yar'Adua, when he died, right? He died in 2010. That was like May 2010. That was when Yar'Adua died. And when he died, there was a lot of mourning. There was a lot of like, people were sad, because this was someone that that carried the prospects of Nigeria in mind. This was someone that was incorruptible, to the best of my knowledge. And this was someone that was willing to make Nigeria a better country. That was willing to take Nigeria that was willing to bring Nigeria into the 21st century. He was willing to fight corruption. He was willing to like reduce government spending. He was willing to reduce the government in general. He was willing to make Nigeria an efficient country, right? But unfortunately for Nigerians, he died. And when he died, there was a lot of mourning. People mourned for him. There was half-mast, which obviously, yes, is a normal thing for when a prominent person dies in Nigeria. But people were unhappy. People were sad. People mourned him. But we are seeing something different today. We are seeing that, yes, even though the press, like the official press statements concerning the death of Buhari, is that, Nigeria is mourning him. Nigerians are not mourning him. If you go online, you will see that people are rejoicing over his death. People are celebrating. People are like throwing parties. People are making fun of his death. Because during his lifetime, he made life a living hell for a lot of Nigerians. This was somebody that ruled first, as in when Nigeria was still a very young country, and then came back again decades later. And Nigerians like, Nigerians thought that he was going to like, because of his old age, Nigerians like kind of like trusted him and thought that maybe he was going to do something better. He was going to like, create a good legacy for himself by making Nigeria a better place. But no, instead, he chose to be a puppet. He chose to be the puppet of the CIA and the United States of America and Barack Obama and all those like demons over there in the West. He chose to be their puppet. He chose to be their plaything. He chose to be their pawn. And he helped them to destroy Nigeria totally. So many things that he did, bro. He was president when there was mass poverty and the naira got so overinflated. He was president during the 2020 End SARS protests, and he was the one that's like commanded the soldiers to shoot sporadically into the crowd where Nigerians were holding the Nigerian flag and Nigerians were protesting over bad government and police brutality and End SARS like brutality and extortion. He was the president then. He was the president when the Shia Muslims were massacred in Zaria State. He was the president when school children were abducted. He was the president when there was a lot of Middle Belt genocide in the middle part of Nigeria. He was the president when like Boko Haram were just terrorizing everybody and killing everybody in the north. And also, instead of him to do something about it, the Boko Haram terrorists that were managed to be, apprehended and captured, there was like a campaign to forgive these Boko Haram terrorists and then reintegrate them into the society and even give them money and give them like tools to be reintegrated into the society. This is somebody that was a very terrible president. Like there's nothing good to write about him. There's nothing good to write about him, basically. He was just the worst of the worst back then until we have Tinubu right now. Do you understand? This person is not somebody that should be celebrated. Do you understand? He is not somebody that should be celebrated. Instead, people, like most Nigerians are doing right now, a lot of people are celebrating his death. And I cannot help but think of what that means. Do you understand? I cannot help but imagine that like my life on earth, as in my behavior on earth would be so hated and so despised and so abhorred that when I die, people will now like celebrate my death. People will now be happy that I died. Death is inevitable. Yes, everybody is going to die. Every single person, anybody that's watching this thing, regardless of how special they think they are, regardless of how loved by God they think they are, regardless of how wealthy they are, regardless of whatever it is or whoever they are on this earth, everybody is going to die. You understand? But what matters is your legacy. What matters is what you do while you are here on earth. What matters is how you lived your life and how you were in service to humanity and other people. This is the thing that matters. And if you didn't do it well, you're going to be remembered as in your remembrance on earth is going to be cursed. Your remembrance on earth is going to be one that will be filled with sadness and ridicule and laughter and fucking spite and insults. And that's what is happening today. There's this tweet now that's coming up where his wife is talking. I don't know if it's true or not. Where his wife is talking about how he said Nigerians should forgive him for all that he has done. But first of all, I don't even think that tweet is true. Secondly, forgive for what? Like, it doesn't, as in, this person like destroyed Nigeria, destroyed the lives of a lot of Nigerians. He had a hand in the killing of a lot of innocent Nigerians, especially in that Lekki toll gate massacre in 2020. Nigerians were protesting against the End SARS government, or should I say against the Nigerians were protesting against End SARS massacre. They're protesting against the SARS back then. And instead of him to like listen to Nigerians, there was this fucked up tweet. I cannot really remember it right now, but I'm going to like put it up here. The tweet was the fucked up tweet was him talking about how in the past they used to handle this kind of like that kind of uproar and that kind of situation with iron hand, and the young Nigerians don't know, like, just so fucked up. You understand? Like, just he was so out of touch with reality. He was so out of touch with the people that he claimed to be presiding over. So out of connection with them that he didn't even understand how people were feeling back then. He couldn't even he couldn't even comprehend. He couldn't even put himself in the shoes of common Nigerians back then. And this is the person you want us. This is the person who, like, what again I cannot understand is that there are still a little bit of people. Maybe people that gained from him financially, maybe people that were sucking his dick back then, maybe people that were just, enamored by his, whatever the fuck I'll even call it. I cannot even understand it. There are a tiny sect of people that are, and most of them are actually Muslims. This is to show you how stupid these people are. Most of them are actually Muslims. Talking about people that are actually, actually mourning his death. Obviously, we're not going to get 100% of people that are, happy over his death. There will obviously be a tiny sect that will be sad about it, a tiny sect that will be unhappy about it. And so we are getting that kind of like nonsense going on right now. But thankfully, the overwhelming majority are the ones that are actually happy and glad that he's dead, and people are hoping that Tinubu is next. Do you understand? People are hoping that Tinubu is next. Tinubu that nobody knows where he is right now. Still nobody. I'm sure maybe he has returned back to Nigeria, but he's always in France. He's always amiss. He's always nowhere to be found. So yeah, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is dead, and his legacy, like he had the chance. Do you understand? That is the one that like trips me the most. He had the chance to create a name for himself, to go down in history as one of the best presidents that night. Like he had the chance. Like this is some he was taking the mantle from Goodluck Jonathan. He was taking the presidential mantle from Goodluck Jonathan at a time when Nigeria was like at its peak of economic stability, at its peak, and then he took it from Nigeria and then rendered it entirely useless, destroyed Nigeria, made things worse for Nigerians, crippled the market, crippled the economy, crippled the currency. Like everything in Nigeria just got drastically worse in his 8 years in office. Imagine spending 8 years in office as a puppet for a much powerful, much higher government, which is the United States government. I cannot imagine myself, right? I cannot imagine myself in a situation where I allow myself to be a puppet. I allow myself to be a pawn. I allow myself to be used by the West to destabilize my country. What kind of money were they giving you? Like what kind of money were they giving you that you allow and you allow yourself to be used by them to destroy your own country? That is the question I want to ask. Okay, yes, I don't believe in God, right? And I'm not even a Muslim, and I don't believe that maybe there is an afterlife. But now, like, let's just imagine that there was actually an afterlife, and we are not even talking about the Christian afterlife. Let's imagine that it's the actual, as in the Muslim afterlife, right? So now this guy now has gone to the afterlife now, and he's now standing face to face with Allah. Let me not use Allah because I don't know. Should I use? Let me just use Allah because I mean he's obviously a Muslim. So now he's standing face to face with Allah right now, and he's now asked to give account of his life on earth. What is he going to say? Like Nigerian politicians. Do you know one thing I've noticed again is that Nigerian politicians don't die a lot. Do you understand? Nigerian politicians, the people in Nigerian government, they don't die a lot. They are always alive. Even somebody like Wale Soyinka is still alive. So these people, they hardly die, and I don't know why. I don't know why I'm thinking that way, but they hardly die, and that's why when one of them eventually dies, it comes as a shock. Then it comes as so unexpected. Meanwhile, death is something that has become so trivialized that it has lost its sacredness. It has lost its mysticism. It has lost its, as in there's no that fear of death has kind of like it has fallen, it has gone back. It's not like behind the mind, as in behind the heads of a lot of people. So people don't no longer fear death that much again because they've put themselves in such positions that as in the only way it can come is through old age or through an act of God. You understand? So Nigerian politicians don't die a lot, and that's why a lot of them don't think that death can come for them suddenly. That's why a lot of them don't consider humanity. That's why a lot of them don't want to do the right thing. Not even only Nigerian politicians. A lot of prominent people in Nigeria don't actually die a lot. A lot of prominent people in Nigeria don't actually die a lot, because if death was something that was constant, if death was something that was impending and always looming over them, I feel like they would act normally. They will act the way they're supposed to act. They will act like actual normal human beings. They will consider people. They will be considerate to Nigerians in general. They are not patriotic at all. That is the thing. I want to repeat it again, that they are not patriotic, because if they were, at least the things that Nigerians need, not even Nigerians, at least the things that they themselves need would be in Nigeria. Like when you see them driving their when you see them cruising in their 30-man what they call it, convoys, on bad roads, you ask yourself, like, does this even make any sense? Like, why are you in a 30-man convoy, in a 30-car convoy, rather, and but your convoy is like, it's just on bad roads. Your convoy is passing through, fucking dilapidated houses that are so ruined. You can practically see the roofs are just like, there are a lot of holes in the roofs. The roofs are brown. As in, there's no shame. There's no shame at all, at all. They don't have shame. They don't have like human sympathy. They don't have any sense of consideration. And they're just blind. They're just so out of touch with reality that they cannot even understand that what they are doing is evil. Except when one of them dies, like what is currently happening right now. I hope that all the rest of the Nigerian politicians are once again aware of the inevitability of deaths. I hope that all the Nigerian politicians today have come to realize that, oh, this can actually happen to me. This can actually happen to me at any moment. You can have an aneurysm and you just die, just go like that. I hope Nigerian politicians are trying to at least considering that, and there is a hint, there's a motive there to change their ways. Because if you don't do it, man, then what are you even on earth for? If you've been given the opportunity to serve people, if you've been given the opportunity to be a governor of multitudes, and you don't do your best to make sure that those people that you're governing over at least are happy. You understand? At least make life easier for them to navigate, make life easier for them to go through. If you don't do that, then what are you even doing with your life? Like, what are you even doing with your life? That is the question to ask. What is the point? What is the whole point of it? To amass yourself with wealth, all that money that Buhari, all the back deals that he did with Western governments and people that were controlling him and using him as a pawn, all the like tiny chicken change that they gave him, and all the nonsense, unimportant power and influence that they gave to him, that they bestowed on him. Like, of what use is any of that right now? Of what good is any of that right now? I saw a video of his daughter crying and wailing outside the clinic where he was dying. His daughter was like yelling and crying for her father. Like, what use basically is that? Your children are going to inherit it, but naturally, as we all know about what happens to Nepo babies, like these kids they're not like that. Protection, first of all, is lost. The protection of being the child of the former president of Nigeria, that protection now is gone, and now you're now left to your own fate. You understand? You're now left to your own fate. You don't, as in, for one to sell their soul. There are so many ways that people can sell their souls. You understand? Like 1,000, like there are a billion ways that people can sell their souls. And the truth of the matter, what people fail to understand is that when you sell your soul, that is it for you. Regardless of whatever it is you think you're gaining from it, it will come back to bite you. It is inevitable as death. It will come back to bite you, even though it looks as if he got off easy. There are so many people that will never live the kind of life that he lived while he was alive. There are so many people that will never have the kind of opportunities that he had. But at the end of the day, it's all vanity. At the end of the day, it's gone. He's dead now, like Buhari is. This is Buhari that some people used to wish to die in the past. People used to wish for him to die. He has finally actually died. And now people are wishing for Tinubu to die. And Tinubu is an old man himself. You understand? Tinubu is an old man. He's an aged man himself. And a question I keep asking myself, is it that these people don't think about their legacies? Right? Is it that they don't actually care about their legacy? They already know that. There are two things I think. There are two things I actually, consider. Maybe they know for real, just like Nigerian pastors, right? Maybe they know for real that there is no afterlife. Maybe, as because they are closer to, world powers, and they are closer to leaders of the Western countries and people that are more technologically advanced. Maybe they've been shown things that we, the common people, will never know and don't know. You understand? So those things have confirmed for them, that have given them the confirmation that after here there is nothing. So the best thing for you to do now is to amass yourself with as much power, influence, and money as you can, so that you enjoy life as best as possible. You understand? So that's why maybe they are doing it, or they know that there is no there is no God, and so there is no God, and there is no, as in, this whole idea of legacy. There's another thing again I'm thinking about, this whole idea of legacy, right? Yes, there will be people that will remember you for the things that you've done while you were here on earth. But as time goes on, eventually those people too will die. And time is time. Like, everybody knows the story of Ozymandias, right? I'm sure everybody knows about the story of Ozymandias. Like, regardless of how great you are, regardless of whatever it is that you accomplished while you were here on earth, at the end of the day, time will like take it all. Time will swallow it. Time will like make it redundant, make it, it will not mean much. I mean, yeah, I still revere somebody like Alexander the Great. I still revere people like Socrates and Plato, all these like influential figures that are important to me in my life. I still revere them, but not as much as I don't think other people like do revere them that much, you understand, or other people take them that seriously. And so the point I'm trying to make is that this is what time does. Regardless of how important you think you are, eventually you'll be forgotten. Even somebody like the Genghis Khan, right? He was brutal. He was like God's wrath. He was God's revenge on humankind. But at the end of the day, the crimes that he committed, even though the crimes he committed are worse than what Hitler did, he has now, he's now like, he has been so forgotten that, the evil that he committed back then is no longer that relevant. And believe me when I say that there will be a time when the atrocities and the genocide that Hitler committed and Hitler was a part of it's already beginning to happen. The Jews right now are, they are now the new modern day Nazis. And so the atrocities that Hitler committed in the past they no longer hold weight again. They no longer carry a lot of like weight. They're no longer as evil as people used to like look at them back then. Because now the people that were his victims are now the ones that are the perpetrators of evil. They're now the new modern day Nazis. So this is time for you. Time is a very funny thing. Time is a very, mysterious and fascinating and just weird, but ultimately funny thing. Because nothing stays permanent. Everything changes. Everything evolves. Everything moves. Eventually, we all forget. But for the time being, no pun intended, what matters, what I think continues to matter is legacy. Because the people that are still alive today will what we have to understand, like the people close to him, Buhari, right? Let me say, for example, now his family, his daughter. I hope they don't, encounter real life Nigerians that will mock them, because now they have to live with that shame that their father, or should I say that Buhari, was somebody that was incompetent and he lived his life as a failure. Because this person, the thing about being a success in life or about being a failure or a loser in life doesn't always have to do with money. It always comes down to your service to humanity. Like, forget the amount of money people have. Forget whether somebody doesn't, end up being a millionaire or somebody lives their life as a quote-unquote loser. What matters in life, I always talk about this, what matters at the end of the day is how people, serve humanity, how people serve other people, how people live their lives in relation to other human beings. Because if your life was a life of, hatred and spite and corruption, and you're always going behind just to one up somebody else, just to have a higher hand above somebody else, like the way this Buhari lived. At the end of the day, when you inevitably and when you eventually die, you're going to be mocked, you're going to be ridiculed, you're going to be laughed at. Nobody's going to take you seriously. Your family will suffer for it. Your family will pay for it. And I believe this is what is already happening. Nobody is taking him seriously. Everybody's mocking him. Just imagine you as a child, right? You go on Twitter and you see that everybody is happy that your father is dead. Like, everybody is happy that your father is dead. People are celebrating. I'm seeing people are celebrating on the streets that your father is dead. What do you think? If that was you, how will you feel? Like, how would that affect you psychologically? How would that affect your mind? How would that affect your brain? That everybody is happy and everybody is glad that your father is dead. Somebody, maybe he might have even been a good father, or maybe he might have been a good father, or I don't even, like, there's this statement he made one time about, his wife. Like, there's this absurd statement he made about his wife one time. I cannot remember what it is right now. I wish I had a Jamie that can look things up for me, but I don't currently have a Jamie. Eventually, I hope I do. But yeah, there's this weird, absurd statement he made about his wife concerning the other room. I'm sure Nigerians know what I'm talking about. So I don't imagine that his marriage was one filled with love or, passion. So, but at the end of the day, man, maybe he might have been a good father. Who knows? So, even though he may have been a good father, he was just not a good leader. He was not even a leader. You understand? He was a tyrant. He was a tyrannical pawn. It is bad enough that you're a tyrant, but for it to now be found out that you are also a pawn used by a more powerful tyrant, it's even sadder. It's even sadder. And you know the worst part? The American government have not even acknowledged. They've not even, like, there's no. I don't think there's any, head of state from any other country that has even acknowledged his death or even like mentioned it. Do you understand? I don't think that anybody has even like wished him. I don't think there's anybody that has like said rest in peace or wished him well. You understand? So it's kind of sad that this is how his life turned out, and it's sad that his life ended up being a life of failure, regardless of the amount of money that maybe he might have gathered while he was alive, regardless of the kind of power that he had, regardless of the fact that he was the president, not even one time self, he was president twice in Nigeria. Still yet, at the end of the day, he died a failure. He died an actual failure because he didn't accomplish anything in Nigeria. The way he left Nigeria worse than when he met it. It's a sad thing, man. It's a fucking sad thing. What's even worse, I don't know if I've talked about this already. What's even worse is that he's returning to Nigeria. Imagine leaving Nigeria as a president and then returning as cargo. As cargo, bro. That is the saddest part of it all. Like, he could have saved himself that shame by building a hospital in Nigeria. By building even like, how much money do you have that you cannot even like, just remove a little part of it, as in to build a hospital, a first class, a presidential hospital, a hospital that looks after the president, like specifically for the president. You have to travel to some random you have to travel out of the country and visit some random hospital. Do you think as in Nigerian government, Nigerian politicians, do you people think that other politicians in other countries, like the hospitals that people go to, that is the same hospitals that they go to? I'm sure they too, they have their own it doesn't even have to be like a hospital itself. Like, they have their own private doctors, they have their own private physicians that look after them privately. But we don't have that in Nigeria. Every year, thousands of doctors are traveling out of Nigeria. Thousands of lawyers, engineers, nurses, people that suffered and gained the knowledge in Nigeria are traveling to other countries, and those countries are now benefiting from the intelligence and the brilliance of those Nigerians, because of what the Nigerian government cannot provide the adequate facilities and the adequate infrastructures for those people to shine, to enhance their craft, enhance their brilliance, enhance their intelligence. Like, it blows my mind. It blows the fuck out of my mind. Thousands of, like, in Nigeria today now, we have less than 55,000 doctors. In a country of 200 million people, we have less than 55,000 doctors to look over 200 billion people. So how do you think that is, like, how do you now expect there to be, medical efficiency in Nigeria? Like, how do you now expect that, when you go to the hospital, you'll be properly looked after and you'll be properly taken care of, when we have just less than 55,000 doctors in Nigeria? Like, every day, the intellectuals in Nigeria, in droves and in all aspects of life, every day they are leaving Nigeria. This is why I believe wholeheartedly that Tinubu cannot be president of Nigeria come 2027. If, hopefully, Nigeria still exists by 2027, I doubt that. See, with the way things are going on right now, right? With the way things are, like, the way things are just changing rapidly and sporadically right now, Tinubu cannot be president of Nigeria again. He's a one-time president. He's a flaw. He's an anomaly. He's a mistake. And I believe that Nigerians have learned from that mistake. And I believe that Nigerians are going to, like, change their ways. They're going to pivot. They're going to change course and thankfully have sense. And this is going to bring Nigeria into a new age, because things have gotten drastically worse already. Tinubu is he's just like Buhari. He works. Somebody said he works remotely, where he's always outside the country. He's rarely here. He always works, as in he's always outside the country, and he does not care about whatever it is that is going on in the country. Sometimes both him and the vice president will just leave the country, and nobody will be at home. Nobody will be, as in, there will be nobody in charge to oversee what is going on in the country, and the country will just be continuously destroying and imploding and just being devastating of itself. This is why I believe Tinubu cannot be president again. Nigerians now have learnt. You understand? And if there's talk now of imposing a bill where in Senate, where the power to appoint the INEC chairman will be taken away from him, just so that he will not be able to appoint somebody that will be in his pockets, appoint somebody that he can control, that will still swerve the voting and swerve the election to his favor. Now, that kind of thing cannot happen. Even if it happens, Nigerians right now, with how frustrated we are, with how disheveled we are, with how defeated we feel, I don't think that Nigerians will allow that to happen. Even Peter Obi himself, I don't think that he's going to, like, take that line down anymore, or take that lightly, like he did in 2023. Because Nigeria, I always talk about Nigeria, and I can never get tired of talking about Nigeria, even if Nigeria is a very big problem, even if Nigeria is a giant bone of contention. I just cannot get tired of talking about Nigeria, because Nigeria is my country, and Nigeria is where I'm from. And if Nigeria as a country, Nigeria is already a failed state. Yes, we understand that. You understand, but it's the most popular and most advanced failed state in the world. You understand? Just right next to North Korea. It's like the most, should I say the most advanced failed state in Africa? That's what I'll say about Nigeria. And it's just, you cannot stop talking about it, because it affects everybody in one way, shape, or the other. Like, it affects every Nigerian, both home and abroad. So with the way things are going right now, with how people's eyes have opened, with how people have become enlightened, with how people are more involved with politics, and their ears are now attentive, a lot more attentive right now. I hope that Tinubu is aware. Like, I hope that there is some sense of self-awareness left in him, and he understands that his time is up. He understands that he's going to be a one-time president, just like Joe Biden. Even though that okay, like for example, let me just take example of what is going on in America right now. During Trump's campaign, he was this beacon of light, of knight in shining armor, that everybody thought was going to, change America and change America's course and shift it away from destruction into like a new age and into a new era of progress and prosperity. But even the people that were, propping him up back then, the whole Joe Rogan verse, all the people all the Joe Rogan's disciples and Joe Rogan himself, all the podcast people that were supporting him back then, and everybody was thinking that okay, he's going to, at least, even if yes, he was still objectively better than Kamala Harris, objectively better than Kamala Harris. Let's not even like joke about that, or let's not even like take that lightly, because that was the truth, and that still remains the truth. It's now turning out that it was all a lie. It's now turning out that this person was what is his name, Trump, he was just using everybody just to get what he wants. And that's kind of the same thing I'm looking at Pete. That's kind of like with the same perspective I am looking at Peter Obi with. Because if by now you still believe anything any politician says, I think that you're either just immature or naive or just stupid, because politicians are not, it is not in them to say the truth, regardless of who they are, regardless of what kind of intention they claim to have, or what kind of how holy they claim to be, or how righteous or how incorruptible they claim to be. If you still believe a Nigerian politician, not even only a Nigerian politician, if you still believe a politician in general, there is something wrong with you. And it is like, because it is not in them to say the truth. First of all, for somebody to want to be the president of a country, there is already something wrong with them. There is already a level of narcissism that cannot even be cured anymore. You understand? There's already a level of psychopathy that cannot even be, like, it is even almost impossible to diagnose. For somebody to want to be in charge of an entire country, there is something wrong with them. You understand? There is already something wrong with a lot of rich people. But for you to now want to be like the most powerful person in a particular region, there is just something particularly wrong with you. And I believe that Donald Trump used all these people. And see, I still don't think, or should I say, I still have a problem with the whole assassination thing. Believe me, I still have a problem with that. I still feel that there is something amiss there. Something is not quite making sense. Something does not still add up. Yes, they are saying that maybe it was Iran that sent that guy to assassinate him. Like, nobody knows who sent that guy to try to assassinate Trump. But what is still like, kind of like, just at the back of my head, at the back of my mind, is that whole assassination attempt is not as honest in the sense that somebody was actually for real trying to like assassinate Trump. It's not as honest as you think it is. It's not as real. I feel it was staged. Believe me, I feel it was staged. I just feel in my heart that it was staged. There's obviously no proof. Like, there is obviously no proof that assassination attempt was staged. But I just feel in my heart that it was staged, because the way it went and how convenient it was, even though there was somebody that died, somebody that lost his life, it just feels off. It just feels fake. It just feels, staged. And Trump is now, kind of like gaslighting Americans and talking about how the most important topic in America right now, which is the whole Jeffrey Epstein case. Somebody that was in cahoots with very prominent people in America, very influential, very wealthy people that hold all the power in America. And he was like in cahoots with them, and these people were allegedly committing heinous crimes, raping children, molesting children, like taking them to the Epstein Island and like doing God knows what to them. For him to now come out and say that it is irrelevant and people should forget about it and people should move on and focus on, more important topics, that nobody should pay attention to this Jeffrey Epstein guy that was a creep. Like, what kind of, I don't know what they take us for. Like, Trump was somebody that everybody was believing that when he gets into power, he's going to, first, because there was the talk of him bringing out like finally like exposing the Jeffrey Epstein client list. He was also talking about how he was going to like expose the bring out the culprits of the assassination of, or bring to light the truth about the assassination of JFK. Just say bye bye to that one. If something as important as this Jeffrey Epstein case is so difficult for Trump to finally acknowledge and bring to light and just settle once and for all, if something like that is proving to be that difficult for him, then do you think something as contentious as the assassination of JFK will ever be known, even though most of the actors involved in it are dead today? I don't think that is going to happen. Everybody should just forget about that one. The promises that he made to Americans, like now he has failed that promise. He has failed that promise, and this is why I asked the question previously. Like these people, do they not care about their legacy? Like, is it because time erases all like legacies? The sands of time covers everything eventually. Is it because of that? Is it because like there is actually no afterlife and there is no judgment after life? There is no God after life? Is that their reason for behaving this way? Not caring about their actions, not caring about their legacies, not caring about what people say, just being sporadically psychopathic. They don't care. They just use whoever they want to use to achieve whatever goal they want to achieve, whatever it is that they want to gain, whatever kind of power or influence it is that they want to they use Joe Rogan, they use Theo Von, they use Andrew Schultz, they use all the prominent podcasters. They used all of them. He used all of them he just played all of them. Made a fool of all of them, and that is something that they themselves cannot even come to admit, because they cannot come to the realization that they were used as pawns. God, they cannot come to that realization, man, that Trump used them to get himself into power, and now that he has put himself in that seat, in that position, he's now essentially laughing at them. He's now essentially calling them out and telling them that people were fools. People were fools to have believed me. So for him now, because now Trump is like, I don't know how old he is, like maybe he's in his late 70s, if I'm correct. And this is obviously his last term. He's not going to run for the presidency again. He's not going to, like, nothing again for him. This is his last term. But in my mind, I was thinking that, I actually said this before, even before he was elected. I was thinking that I said that, him now being an old person, an old man, this is going to be like the defining moment for him, where he's going to go all out. He's going to like reveal the truth. He's going to do things right, because this is his last opportunity. This is the last chance that he gets. He's going to, like, everybody thought that he's going to go down in history as the president that turned things around, not only for America and Americans, but for the whole world in general. This is what I believe, though. This is what I thought. But what we are seeing now is that this guy has been co-opted. Like, maybe something has happened. Like, I always feel like whenever somebody, becomes the president of America, maybe they show him the behind the scenes of what is actually going on. Like, what is actually happening, how they're actually running the country, how they're actually running the world. And the behind the scene is drastically different from whatever it is that we think is happening. And so when they are shown that reality, they just become, they just lose touch with their whole whatever agenda it is that they were promising to change or to incorporate. They lose touch with, they just forget everything, and then they go with this reality. And maybe this is what is actually happening. Maybe this is what is actually going on. That's why they don't want to. That's why Trump has changed his stance on everything. He was talking about how he was going to like end the war between Russia and Ukraine in like a week. Or was it a week that he said? in a week he was going to like end the war between Russia and Ukraine. The war is still going on. In fact, the war is like at the back of everybody's mind now. Nobody's even like thinking of that one now. The one that everybody's like thinking of now. China now is now, bro. China now is now like trying to invade Taiwan for real this time around. China now has decided that it's now finally time to invade Taiwan. Like, this is the state of the reality that we're living in. You understand? The one that is going on between Israel and Palestine is still going on. And he said that he's going to end that war. But yet nothing has happened. I'm not saying that, like, even everybody understood that it was utterly unrealistic for him to have said that he was going to end the war between Russia and Ukraine in a day. Or was it a week that he said? Everybody knew that he was just exaggerating because, Trump exaggerates. It's just how he is. It's how he talks. But for it to still be going on 6 months later, 7 months later, for the war between, Israel and Palestine to still continue to be going on, and Israel continues to commit genocide on the Palestinians, Trump is failing on his promise, as in he's failing on all the promises that he made. And it makes me wonder if that's still going to be the same thing with Peter Obi. Because everybody now is propping up Peter Obi as the savior of Nigeria, the savior of the Nigeria as a country. Everybody's propping him up to be the person that is going to like take us out from the darkness and bring us into the light. Everybody's propping him up as this incorruptible politician, this incorruptible person that, he has the fear of God in him. He has the intention of Nigerians in him. He's carrying Nigerians in his mind. And there is this, this footage of him, this recent footage of him sharing food in an occasion that he attended. And to me, this is just the classic politician move. Do you understand? It's just the classic politician move. It's just the normal thing that politicians do. And it's making me wonder if I'm second guessing. See, I just don't have it in me now to believe any politician at all. Whatever it is that they're saying, or whatever it is, however it is that they feel, or whatever promises that they're making, I just don't have it in me to believe any politician. But out of all the bad ones, at least Peter Obi is the one that is the fairest of them all. Out of all of them, he's one that at least I just have a little bit of, hope. I have a little bit of I have a tiny bit of trust. I have a tiny bit of, I don't know. I just hope that the promises that he's making, I hope that the promises that he has, all the whole things that he has promised to Nigerians, he's going to eventually deliver. And another thing again is that I hope they don't kill him before then. Do you understand? Even if they do, I think that it will be a lot more detrimental to them to kill him, because then he'll be a martyr. And then he'll die like, he will die a hero, and that will just be bad for them in every way. So I don't think that's kind of political tactic has been outdated, because they know now that it brings more harm to themselves than good. So APC, like all things, like how I talked about how constant time change is, APC is going to be like, we have this new political party now, ADC now, right? And but what people don't actually know is that nothing remains the same forever. APC at one point in time used to be like the most powerful political party in Nigeria. Even before that, PDP used to be the most powerful political party in Nigeria. But today, PDP has become essentially redundant. It has become useless. It has become irrelevant. Nobody talks about PDP anymore. And the same thing now is happening to APC, where they themselves, by their own hands, they've destroyed the party. They've made it a laughing stock. They've made it a ridicule. They've turned it into something that nobody respects. No sensible person would want to attach themselves or connect themselves or relate themselves to APC, because APC is a sinking ship, and he's going to go down with Tinubu. You understand? Tinubu is the captain of APC. APC is a sinking ship, and he's going to go down with Tinubu. At the end of his tenure as the president, if he doesn't, if an act of God like an impeachment does not happen before 2027, the whole APC thing is going to die. I just realistically, I just cannot see a situation where Tinubu will emerge again as the president of Nigeria. It just cannot happen. Look at what is going on now with the death of Buhari. Look at how everybody is happy. Do you understand? Look at how everybody is calling on, praying that Tinubu is next. I mean, just look at it. Like, you cannot tell me, like, there is no way. I am not seeing a scenario where he will come out and claim that, you know, people love him enough to vote for him and want to make him the president of Nigeria again. It's just not going to happen. So that is all, man. That is just all I think I have for today. What is his name? Fucking Buhari, right? He's dead. He's dead and he's gone, and his legacy, and this is his legacy, a legacy of failure, a legacy of like just foolishness and a waste of time. Imagine wasting 83 long years, something that a lot of people will never be opportuned to have. 83 years, you wasted it, and you ended up being a fucking failure. Fuck you. Rest in pieces, you piece of shit. Jesus fucking Christ, man. It's sad. It's sad that you had the opportunity to do signs and wonders. You had the opportunity to take Nigeria to greater heights, but instead you chose to be a pawn. You chose to be a tyrant. You chose to be used by, like, not even that they are more powerful. They are all in the same boat, but you chose to be used by them. To be their pawn, to be their errand boy, to be their tool of destruction. You don't deserve respect. You don't deserve acknowledgement. You don't deserve any iota of, you know, accolade. Like, you don't deserve anything good. If there is an afterlife, I hope that you're born in hell, in whatever kind of afterlife you find yourself in. If there is a God, I hope that God punishes you for what you have done to Nigerians. You understand? It's not like I'm being emotional about it. I'm just hoping that, as in, the truth of the matter is this: he got off easily. Like, this is the objective, realistic truth of the matter. He got off easily. Like he got off easily. He died at an old age. You understand? He died with his family. He got off easily. But I wish it could have been a lot more dramatic than that. I wish there could have been a scenario where he paid for his crimes. Baba, what is that his name? IBB is still alive, right? So everybody's just hoping on that one to die. Don't worry, it's going to happen. As in, everybody's going to get their own eventually. So that is just it, man. So the next one everybody's hoping to die is Tinubu. Everybody's hoping that Tinubu dies, man. And frankly, I am here for it. I'm here for all of it. So, yeah. Fucking rest in pieces, you piece of shite. That's that for today, man. Thank you guys for chilling with me. Thank you for giving me your listening ears. If you enjoyed it up to this moment, please leave a comment below. Tell me what you think about it. Like the video, subscribe if you want to see more. Share it with people you think might be interested in this kind of, like, you know, content. And thank you for all your support, all the little support I get. And yeah, that's that about that, man. I'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye everybody.